A small grey shape lay crumpled just beyond the front bumper. At first glance, it looked like a boulder, but then a tiny trunk twitched weakly, dragging across the dirt with barely enough strength to move its own weight. An elephant calf, no more than a year old. Its body was covered in dust, patches of dry mud clinging to its sides. Its legs were folded awkwardly beneath it, as if it had fallen and couldn't get up again. The calf's breaths came shallow, broken and uneven. Its enormous ears shook with each tremble of pain. "Sweetheart," Mara whispered softly, "how long have you been like this?" She stepped closer. The calf let out the faintest groan, a sound so full of fear and exhaustion that Mara's chest tightened painfully. It tried to lift its head, but its trunk collapsed again, stirring a puff of dust. She knelt carefully, keeping her movements slow and non-threatening. The calf's eye cracked open, a deep, glossy brown rimmed with fear. She whispered, "I'm not here to hurt you." A shout erupted behind her. "Hey! Step back! Back away from it!" Mara turned sharply. A safari group, 7 tourists, 2 guides, were approaching from a dirt path nearby. Their boots kicked up dust. Their eyes were wide with alarm, cameras dangling uselessly from their hands. The lead guide waved frantically. "Do not go near that thing." Mara frowned. "It's injured." "It's dangerous," he snapped. "A trapped elephant is one of the most unpredictable animals in the park." Another guide, taller and older, scoffed loudly. "Look at her. She doesn't know what she's doing." A tourist pointed at the calf. "Is it sick or something?" The older guide shrugged. "Maybe, but we're not risking anything. It could stand up and charge." Mara looked back at the calf. It could barely breathe, let alone stand. She turned toward them again. "I'm trained for this. Please stay back. And don't panic it." The tall guide laughed loud and mocking. "Trained? In what? Instagram wildlife selfies?" A ripple of chuckles passed through the tourists. Mara felt her jaw tighten, but she didn't respond. She turned back to the calf. The ground trembled again. Harder this time. A rumble rolled beneath them like a low drum stroke. A female tourist gasped, clutching her partner's arm. Was that an elephant herd?" The guide stiffened. One of them muttered under his breath, No, that can't be right. We're too far from the migration corridor." Mara knew better. She had studied herds for years. She could feel the difference between isolated vibration and collective movement. This wasn't a single elephant. It was a group, a large group, and they were moving fast. A tension snapped like a wire pulling taut inside her mind. Elephants did not leave their young behind unless... No. She didn't want to finish the thought. The calf whimpered again, shorter, weaker. Its breaths broke into small, shallow gasps. "Easy," Mara whispered. "Stay with me." She reached for her rescue pouch, but a hand clamped around her wrist. She looked up to see the older guide gripping her arm tightly. "You're going to get yourself killed," he growled through clenched teeth. "And if you do something stupid, you'll get all of us killed." Mara pulled her arm calmly free. "I'm trying to help." "You're not helping," he snapped. "You're making it worse." A younger tourist chimed anxiously. "Guys, maybe we should listen to him. What if the herd comes back?" Another murmured, "What if the mother is watching us right now?" The crowd began to panic. Voices rose, fear mixed with irritation. A few stepped back instinctively. One man shook his head, muttering angrily about how his vacation was ruined. Meanwhile, the calf's breathing deteriorated. Its chest barely rose. Its trunk trembled violently, curling weakly before collapsing again. Mara crouched, listening closely. Its heartbeat fluttered. Light, frantic, dangerously faint. "Dehydrated," she murmured. "Very badly." The older guide barked. "Ma'am, move away now." Mara ignored him. She placed her hand on the calf's side. The guide stormed forward, voice booming. "I'm calling park security if you don't stop." She sighed and finally rose to her feet. The tourists watched her, expecting a fight or an argument. Instead, Mara reached into her back pocket, pulled out a worn leather badge holder, and flipped it open in one smooth, practiced motion. Wildlife Trauma Response Unit Field Specialist call sign, Horizon. The guides froze. One tourist whispered, "Oh my God, she's an officer." Another murmured, "She looks so young." The older guide swallowed hard, suddenly silent. Mara didn't bask in the shift of power. She simply knelt again beside the calf. Its breathing was nearly inaudible. She scanned the savannah, listening. The rumbling beneath the earth grew stronger. Shadows flickered across the distant grass. Something large moved between the acacia trees. More than one. The rhythm of the tremors sharpened into a distinct cadence. Her stomach twisted. The herd was coming. Fast. She turned to the safari group. Her voice rang out firm and commanding, slicing through their rising panic. "I need water, all of it. Bottles, flasks, hydration packs, anything you have. Bring them here." No hesitation. They scrambled. The older guide, desperate to regain control, pointed at her with trembling agitation. "What are you going to do with water? You can't save that calf alone." Mara's reply was calm but firm. "I can keep it alive until help arrives." "And when will help arrive?" he demanded. A new voice answered, deep and urgent. "Backup's already on the way." Everyone turned. A sand-colored emergency ranger truck skidded to a stop behind the safari group. Dust swirled around the tires. A tall man jumped out, pushing his sunglasses up to his forehead. Dr. Elias Monroe, wildlife veterinarian, senior officer, and Mara's longtime field partner. He approached quickly. "We got your signal, Horizon. What's the situation?" Crowd whispers rippled in shock. "Horizon? She's that Horizon? Someone told me she once treated a charging bull elephant." "While it was charging?" Mara didn't look at them. She pointed to the calf. "Severe dehydration. Possible internal injury. No herd in sight." Elias knelt beside her, eyes widening. "Oh no, this little one's in critical condition." The ground trembled again, hard enough to make dust leap from the earth. Tourists gasped. The tremors sharpened. Closer, heavier, rising like thunder rolling across the plains. Elias looked up sharply. "Tell me that's not—" "It is," Mara whispered. A herd. Charging. Not toward them yet, but moving fast. Too fast. The older guide panicked. "We need to leave. Everyone, move." "No," Mara shouted. "If we leave now, this calf will die in minutes. We stay until extraction arrives." A tourist, shaking uncontrollably, cried, "But what if the herd tramples us?" Mara's pulse hammered. The calf let out a faint, desperate cry. So weak, it felt like it was slipping away piece by piece. Elias whispered, voice grim, "We have to work fast, Mara. We may not have long." She placed her hand gently on the calf's head. "I know." The tremors grew louder. The dust on the horizon swirled into a faint rising cloud. Something massive was approaching. Something powerful. And time was running out. The earth trembled so violently now that even the jeep rocked. Dust rolled across the plains like a rising storm, and the distant silhouettes of elephants grew larger, shifting from soft shapes into towering bodies, moving with terrifying speed. The safari group huddled behind the emergency truck, fear tightening every face. Elias glanced at the oncoming herd, then at the calf gasping weakly at their feet. "Mara, we have less than a minute," he said quietly. "I know," she whispered, pressing the last of the water bottle to the calf's cracked lips. It swallowed, barely, but enough to trigger a faint, fragile spark of life. The tremors intensified. Deep vibrating shock waves rolled through the ground. The lead matriarch could now be seen clearly. Ears spread, trunk raised, eyes blazing with protective fury. A mother searching for her stolen child. The older guide panicked and shouted, "We're dead! Everyone get in the truck!" "No one moves," Mara said, her voice steady but low. "Movement will make her charge faster." The matriarch let out a bone-shaking trumpet scream that echoed across the plains. The calf flinched. Elias's voice tightened. "Mara, extraction won't make it in time." "Yes," she said softly, "which means we're the only thing standing between this calf and a stampede." She gently slid her hand under the calf's head. "Come on, sweetheart. Help me. Just a little." With every ounce of strength the tiny elephant had left, it lifted its head, just enough for Mara and Elias to shift its body. Together, they dragged the calf toward the jeep's side, away from the direct path of the charging herd. Dust spiraled violently as the elephants thundered closer. The tourists screamed. Some cried. One man collapsed in terror. "Mara!" Elias shouted. "That's it! No more time!" The elephants were seconds away. The matriarch veered sharply, lowering her head, trunk coiled, preparing to strike. Elias grabbed Mara's arm. "We need to run." But Mara didn't move. Instead, she stepped forward, right into the open, between the herd and the calf. "Mara! Ah!" Elias shouted, horror cracking his voice. The tourists shrieked. Even the older guide grabbed his head, whispering, "She's out of her mind. She's going to die." But Mara stood perfectly still, exactly as she had been trained, exactly as she had done a dozen times before. She raised her hands, palms open, a universal signal of surrender. Her voice carried across the plains, soft but unmistakably steady. "She's alive," Mara called to the matriarch. "Your baby is alive." The matriarch skidded to a halt just meters away, dust exploding around her massive feet. Her trunk curled in confusion, rage, desperation. Mara spoke again, slower, gentler. "Look behind me. She's breathing." The matriarch's ears twitched. Her furious eyes shifted, past Mara, toward the tiny heap of grey fur trembling in the dirt. A deep, guttural rumble rolled out of her chest. Then the world stilled. The matriarch stepped closer, not to attack, but to see. Her trunk brushed the calf's head. A soft, broken cry left her, a sound of recognition, relief, devastation. The herd slowed behind her, forming a protective semicircle. Elias whispered, voice shaking. "I can't believe she stopped." Mara stepped aside slowly, giving the mother full access. "She needs you," she whispered. The matriarch nudged the calf with her trunk, firmly but lovingly. The calf struggled weakly, lifted its head, and let out a tiny cry. The mother answered with a low, trembling rumble. The entire herd responded. The ground vibrated, not in rage, but in unity. The older guide removed his hat, shame spreading across his face. "I misjudged you," he muttered. A tourist wiped tears from her cheeks. "She saved both of them." Elias exhaled shakily. "She always does." The matriarch repositioned herself behind the calf, nudging it again, encouraging, urging, pleading. The calf rose halfway, trembled, nearly fell. Then Mara stepped forward one last time, her hands supporting its side without touching the mother. "You can do it," she whispered. "Just stand." The calf pushed, with every ounce of strength left inside its tiny body. It stood, wobbly, weak, but standing. The matriarch let out a thunderous, triumphant trumpet that echoed across the savannah like a victory cry. The herd closed in around the calf, forming a living shield of tusks and bodies. Mara stepped back, breath trembling, heart pounding. Elias placed a hand on her shoulder. "You gave them a miracle." "No," she murmured softly. "They gave me one." The herd began to move away, guiding the calf gently, protectively. Before leaving, the matriarch paused and turned her massive head toward Mara. Their eyes met, a silent recognition, a silent thank you. Then she vanished into the tall grass with her family. The safari group stood speechless. The older guide finally walked up to Mara, his voice low and ashamed. "I'm sorry. For doubting you. For everything I said." Mara nodded once. "Just remember next time, fear shouldn't speak louder than compassion." Elias looked at her as the sun dipped behind the horizon. "You realize you faced down a charging elephant today." Mara gave a small, tired smile. "I didn't face her down. I listened to her." The sky darkened, and the sounds of the savannah shifted into their nighttime rhythm. Soft insects, distant roars, the heartbeat of a world still wild and beautiful. Mara looked out over the grasslands. In her chest, something warm and steady settled, quiet, powerful, unshakable. The moral was simple. Sometimes the difference between life and death is just one person choosing to stop, to listen, and to care even when everyone else turns away.